like, hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Welcome to the Dr. Dex podcast. My name is Jason Russell. I'm accompanied by my son, DJ Studio Man. Give him a follow on Instagram. No? Don't give him a follow?
I said hello.
Oh, hello. I thought he said no. I'm like, wait, what? Who wouldn't want
to follow me?
Give him a follow. Today, my guest is... Now, I'm sorry, Sven. I don't know your last name.
Kysar.
Kysar. Sven Kysar. Out of, are you Tumwater, Olympia? What?
Yackle, Washington. So up in the woods. It used to call this area like hillbillies, but it's kind of changed a little bit.
Okay, say that city again.
Yackle, Washington.
Yackle.
Yep, it's about 3,500 people.
Okay, so where is that geographically located in Cal? You can drop that on a map or something. But give us, where's it from Olympia?
So Olympia, so you head south, and when you get in, it's about 2.5 hours, you'll hit Woodland, a little town of Woodland. It's right along I-5. And so we're basically directly east of them, about a half hour. And then if you kind of pinpoint us from from Portland, Oregon, or Vancouver, we're about 40 minutes north.
Okay.
So from I-5, So that's the location. So up in the trees.
Cool. So Centralia, like you go to Centralia and hang if you're going south, you'd hang a left then, I guess, right?
Centralia, you'd go south of Centralia. Continue just going south. It's
closer to Portland.
It is. It's getting pretty close to Vancouver though. When you turn, it's before Richfield.
Right. Gotcha.
We're basically, I guess, like you could. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Right on. Okay, cool. So, Sven, you are the creator, the inventor of a product, and it has a funny name. It's called Squi.Jig.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Squi.Jig. Yep.
Squi.Jig. All right, and we're gonna get into all that stuff. I use your products. I use, as you've matured and developed your product, you've actually come out with other great accessories that go along with that product. And we're gonna talk about all of them. And I know you've had some challenges, so I'm really interested to hear it. But I want to learn a little bit about you before we get into all that tool stuff. So, your first name is Sven. I'm sorry. What was your last name again?
Kysar.
Kysar. So, what nationality
Professional
is it?
podcaster.
Hey, man, no notepad, no pen.
This is all one take, no notes.
Full send.
Full send, baby. Yeah, like I
you
do
should
have
watch us create a YouTube video. You wouldn't believe.
Anybody that wants to get in on the creative flow of YouTube videos, drop us a line. We might listen.
Absolutely.
So anyways, what your nationality? Where's your family from?
Yeah, so my dad's side actually has been here for many, many years. So great grandpa, we came from the East Coast and slowly ventured over this way. And there's a lot at the time. So my great grandpa always stayed there. He died and stuff there, but then family moved more west and into logging. So there's a lot of logging happening. And so my family was all loggers. And so then my grandpa, he warehouser is selling a lot of land, and so purchased it at the time. They're just getting rid of it. It was all logged, but then over time it grew, and stuff like that. And so ended up actually a lot of the logging that my dad did and grandpa were just on their own property essentially. And then he also traveled. So then when Mount St. Helens blew, he traveled a lot. Also did logging in Colorado and stuff. But yeah, logging is kind of our background. My dad.
No, that was back in 1980-ish, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. So I'm the youngest of family.
And how old are you? How old are you?
37.
Oh, okay. So you're actually a little older than I thought. You look much younger than you are. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
always a good
crazy.
thing, right? That's a
Oh
good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to
So,
stress too much.
yeah, right. Awesome. All right. So where were you raised? Where'd you grow up?
So I actually grew up a quarter mile from where I live now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not I didn't go very far.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought
All
about
right.
moving somewhere, but my brother offered to sell his house when I after I sold my house, which was about 10 miles from where I live now. And
Mhm.
he's like, "Hey, I'm selling my house. You want to buy it?" And he offered a good price. I'm like, "Well, kind of wanted to move somewhere else, try a different area for fun, but it's like too good an offer to pass up." And so we're here.
Nice. It's hard to pass up a good offer on a piece of real estate, man. Like
Dude, I know.
Sean's,
I couldn't afford if it was for sale now. I couldn't afford it.
I don't
It's
think I could
crazy.
afford where I live either right now. If maybe, but it'd be a much larger mortgage than I have now.
Oh yeah.
30 years ago, we almost built almost 30 years ago. I think in 2028, it'll be 30 years when we logged this property. And
Okay.
anyway, so so elementary, junior high school, where'd you attend?
Yeah. So right here, just school in Yakult Primary School. So that's what I did, fourth grade, and then Amboy Middle School, and then Battleground High School. Um, so basically, that's where I went. Did a little bit of Clark College because I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. Actually, wanted to be
Oh,
like the
cool.
the boss, right? Because
Sure.
I love that. I didn't like the grunt work, sitting on the computer and drawing. But so I was like, okay, I need to learn this. And anyways, I wasn't the biggest fan of school. I think too much squirrel mode in me. I kind of just sit there and I
Did
needed
you
action.
were you into sports or academics in high school at all, or what was your jam?
No, I actually rode dirt bikes. So
Oh, cool.
I worked. There's some rich people a little ways away that had us work and do random stuff around their house, and so we made money that way. We got just brought to their place, and they'd bring us back and stuff. And I just spent all my money on dirt bikes. So I
Cool.
had
Hey man,
I had
that's
dirt
an
bikes.
awesome thing to spend money on too. Like I had a dirt bike growing up and started on an 80 and then went into, 125s and a couple 250s. Never had the RM. What brand of motorcycle dirt bike did you like to ride? Did you have a preference?
Yeah, so my favorite was actually the Yamaha.
Yeah?
I had Honda.
The YZs?
Yep. YZ
YZs?
250.
Ooh.
That's right. I rode a lot, and
Was that a 50-to-1 ratio gas mix or
I did 34 to 1 just because then I could actually hold it, I could
wide
run it
open?
tighter and it wouldn't blow up as often.
Yeah, right. Because those motors would get really hot. Was
Yep.
that air? That was an air cool. Was that an air cooled motor?
Nope. This one
No.
was liquid. I did have the Yamaha Blaster, which was air cooled. Uh, the KX 250 two stroke, that was liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I had a YZ 80.
When did you
Yeah.
start riding motorcycles?
So my mom and dad didn't really believe in toys, and so if
Aw.
you wanted to have a toy, like you had to earn it. And so when I was little, what I did is we had these things called tote goats, and so they're like little Briggs and Stratton or a little Honda engine on them,
Mm-hmm.
like a go kart engine. And so
Mm-hmm.
you'd have these teeny little wheels. They're homemade, basically homemade little dirt bike, little pit bike. And
Okay.
so got one from the neighbors, and I don't know. I guess I learned how to weld when I was like a little kid, and I just
Cool.
terrorized their shop. And
That is too
so,
cool.
yeah, so I fixed that thing and like rode it around, had a Briggs and Stratton on it, and then ended up putting suspension on it, and we'd jump it like on a pedal bike track. This little homemade dirt bike. It's just a
Cool.
piece of crap. But that was my dirt bike, and then finally earned
Now, how
enough
old were
money.
you? How old were you when you had that?
How old was I?
Give me a range.
Probably 12.
Okay. All right.
Like
That's a
12.
great time, man. Mini bikes at 12 years old,
Yeah.
terrorizing the neighborhood. Heck yeah.
Yep. It
All
was
in,
before I was
all
a
in.
teenager. So yeah, I'd
Cool,
say
man.
11, 12. Yep.
All right, and then you graduated to your first 80.
Yeah. So it was really weird getting a real dirt bike.
Yeah.
Much faster. Like you could actually ride wheelies and stuff like that. Not very controllable on the two stroke, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And
No,
then
it's fun.
so then you started maturing and getting these bigger bikes. And were you racing them, or were you just doing it for sport or for fun, or what?
Yeah, just for fun. Never did any racing. Yeah, real dirt bike. I got it for $600. It was a YZ 250F, so four stroke, and I got it in a couple boxes. And because my buddy is like, I ain't gonna try to put this thing back together, so he sold it to me for cheap. Bought the parts it needed, put it back together, and rode that thing. That was the best, most reliable dirt bike I've had. For whatever
No
reason,
kidding.
it just ran so good.
And you put it back together. That had to feel pretty good. That something you assembled that you know exactly, if something breaks, you know exactly how to fix it.
Yep.
And the parts are reliable, and the company is pretty reliable. Like Yamaha makes some pretty solid stuff.
Yep.
And then you said you had a Honda at one point.
Yeah. So I have had a couple Hondas. So I had a Honda 3-wheeler. Those were fun.
Oh, dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. Had a little 110, and that thing you could hang wheelies forever and ride on, two wheels or whatever. And then had a big red, so I had like the rack on the back as a 250, and so that was fun. And then now we have a Honda, just a work four-wheeler, just standard, whatever, right?
Do you still ride?
You know what? So doing the Squi.Jig, the business, I actually ended up. I had a truck. I sold my truck, and then sold my dirt bike, and I put everything into this thing.
Yeah, man.
And
Okay.
so it feels really weird not having. I just recently, for the kids, got a 110, a Yamaha 110. It's like a pit bike. It has a big bore kit in it, 125.
Okay.
And so it can pull big dudes around easy. Like
Nice.
200 pounds, it'll easily pull you, no problem. But so that thing has piles of torque. So that thing's fun. But a real dirt bike I miss it. We used to ride a lot in the dunes. So I had a Banshee.
Oh yeah, Banshees are bad boys.
Yep.
Yeah, those are radicals.
Dude, they're animals, and 450s. So then I ended up riding a lot of 450s and dunes. That's where we spent most of our time, actually. So
because you're a lot closer to the dunes than I am, so like it's not such a commute to get to them. I've never been to the Oregon sand dunes, but I've heard just these amazing and awesome stories and all the craziness in action. It's just I was into water sports, water bikes, and boats, so I just didn't get a chance to spend more money on snowmobiles or quads. And I have a couple quads, but I never ride them. I live on an acre and a quarter, and it's just not enough space to ride quads on, especially when you're fully landscaped and everything's nice. You don't want to go ripping everything apart. But So you must have had were you riding on your dad's property then, or where were you just had a track somewhere you were able to go out on, or what?
So yeah, neighbors had a dirt bike track, so we'd rip around there, and so that was a lot of fun. But then also we live right around like a lot of private land, and then the owners have known us forever, and like they have like thousands of acres. It was just pure luck that they were right there, and they didn't care if we hunted, fished, rode dirt bikes.
Oh man, wow! Good for
they
you.
were so nice, and
that's really cool.
And so we had trails all over the place. So we rode a lot there, and then that we could just jump on your dirt bike and just go ride. But we tried to as much as we could go down to the dunes, which is like 2.5 hours away. So it wasn't bad.
Yeah. That's a manageable trip. So Shell and Texaco and Arco, man, those guys must have loved you because you were probably buying gasoline like crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
And the dirt bike shop.
Oh, I bet. And then was there a specific oil that you like to mix with your gas when you're riding, or is there something out there that you think is really good for that kind of action?
I like the smell of the Castrol.
Yeah.
So it has like a, I don't know, it smells really good.
I get that. You know, I used to burn, get this, I bought a 55-gallon jug of racing fuel for my
Okay.
jet ski.
Yep.
Just so I'd burn 117 in it, man, because I love the way my jet ski smelled.
Yep.
And I put this stuff called Dumonde Tech in, the oil, and it was the sweetest. Every time I crashed, I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, the VP
So,
race gas was
yep.
also
That's,
smells phenomenal. So we try to buy 5 gallons of that when we go to the dunes.
yeah, man. It's expensive as heck, but it's so awesome, and everything starts like right away when you use that stuff. I just
Yep.
love it. So now for me, dirt bikes eventually translated off into street. Have you done much street riding at all?
No, I kind of I think I knew better a little bit, I guess. I don't know, kind of was a little bit dumb, like where I'd full send, and
Hmm.
I didn't trust myself. So somebody had a crotch rocket, and I better not ride that thing. I'll probably kill myself. But there's
Yeah.
one dude I jumped on his it was a Honda. It looked like a Harley. It was a
Hmm.
1400, but that thing, if you rip on it, like the front tire would come off the ground. I was like, holy
Sweet.
cow!
Yeah.
But
A lot
that
of
was it. I was always, I don't know. I was worried. I never did ride a rocket though.
I feel like if you grew up in the dirt on dirt bikes, it makes you an excellent street rider. Because you just have the fundamentals. You know how to stop. You know how to shift. You know how to shift fast or slow. You know how to bring the bike down. You know how to lean into curves. You know, it just really gives you, and when you crash on dirt, it doesn't hurt as much as you crash on pavement. So you know, it gives you all those fundamentals that you kind of need to translate off into street. So I do have street bikes. I don't ride them as much as I'd like, but I felt like the dirt bike riding really helped me in my future as a street rider. I had this one motorcycle for a while back in high school. It's called a Boltaco. And it was I think it's a Spanish bike. And you had to start it on the left side of the motorcycle because the Kickstarter was on the left. And it was a one piston enduro, like a trials bike kind of. Um, was not very reliable and was impossible to start. I just hated that motorcycle. And then I had an enduro for a while that was a Honda 125, and that was a cool bike. Lots of fun to ride, and you know you could go on the street and then just like veer off into the woods, man, and go anywhere you wanted. So that was always fun. But good deal, man. So okay, so you're out of high school, and what did you do for employment after high school?
Yeah, after high school, I actually went and I ran skid steers. So doing like final grading around people's houses and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the dozer would come in, do all the rough grade, and I'd come through and do all the finish. And then
Okay.
got into brush clearing. And so like people would have blackberries even in their backyard, nasty brush that's coming in close, and they want to maybe leave their big trees and clear everything out under. And it was so satisfying. Like you could go to somebody's house and just transform it in one day. Just it looks like park
Let me
style.
ask you a question because I own a Bobcat as well,
Okay.
and I use it often in my business. But was it a full cab or did you have an open cab?
Oh, it started off open cab, and I was dusty from head to toe. Like you had to shake your shirt, and it just, and you could just see your eyeballs, teeth, and it was terrible. And you'd have boogers for
The o-
days.
the other question I have for you is, and I know I'm sure you fell onto this, and because I've done some brush clearing. Did you wear like a beekeeper's uniform while you're inside the machine?
Yeah, so when we got into brush clearing, uh, we actually then did get an enclosed cab. At first, we got just a
Nice.
front plexiglass or the bulletproof glass, polycarbonate or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is, carbonate,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then the sides are open. Yeah, so we did. I did run into some bees, but I got lucky enough to where when that happened, we had a full enclosed cab. So I never had to
Nice.
actually face the terrorizing bees.
I ran into a beehive once in my machine, and I had an open front, open sides, and they're swarming, man. And I just went full reverse as fast as I could and just kept going. And luckily, I think I might have got stung once. But that was always a consideration when you're just, what you're going into these properties, and you're just like mowing stuff down, And what kind of did you just have a bucket, or did you use like a grapple or any other what do they call them? Not
There's
utensils,
grapples, and then we had a brush clearing head, a
implements.
Fecon head.
Yeah.
The brand that we ran was called Fecon.
Yeah.
You could run that thing so hard, but round rocks would wreck the teeth quick. So if there's a job that had the river rock, we'd have to increase our bid some just because you're like guaranteed to have to do welding after the job or something like that. Yeah.
So how old were you when you're running this Bobcat?
Yeah, so I started there a little bit before I had basically 16. So it was like a week before I had my license.
That is
I started
awesome.
There, but then, yeah. So 16, and then I worked there for 6 years.
How long did you do that for? 6 years.
Yeah, you ran side as well.
You ran a hydraulic machine from 16 for 6 years, which is some of the best experience at that age that you could possibly get. You'll live, you'll have that for your life skills. Those are life skills. I feel like maybe it's not as complex as a drummer, like with the skill set you have when you start doing that, but you're running your feet and your hands all at the same time to get the machine to do what you want it to do. My machine's not as powerful as I wish it was, so I often will stall the machine because I'm asking too much of it all at the same time. I'm moving forward, I'm catching dirt, I'm picking up the bucket, I'm hitting reverse, and I'm tilting the bucket, and I might just stall because it's like, dude, what are you doing to me, man? So to be able to have that set of skills at such a young age, who put you in a machine at 16 years old?
Yeah, that boss, he was awesome, but basically he's like, jump in that thing, and like I remember the first thing that we did was just move a pile of dirt from one side of the house to another, and he's like, because we have cows and whatnot, so growing up we had cows, and we'd learn how to drive tractors. They're small, everything's small, right? Just a few cows and stuff, and so had a little bit of a concept down of machines. But then the first, like, moving the dirt, I still remember it's just really simple, a lot of room, and it's like take as long as you need essentially to learn how. And so like there's nothing really major to hit because the house was like 50 feet away or whatever where you're moving it. So kind of learned the gist of it, and I don't know, really good teacher, I suppose, because then the next was a little bit more challenging. Then after I got a really good hang of it, he's like, hey, come help us on a job. And then so it'd give us the simple tasks or whatever, or give me the simple tasks, and then slowly build up from there. And then eventually I just drove own truck and trailer, and then would go do jobs by myself. But
nice.
Yeah, it wasn't all at once. It took a bit, but
of course, yeah. I mean, it takes a minute. So yeah, because the first experience I ever had in a Bobcat, I was actually running gravel for a guy, but it was on pavement.
Okay.
And I made that thing buck like a bronco. I couldn't stop getting it to jump, man. It was like, I mean, there's a lot of finesse that goes into running those machines. Now it's natural. Like, I own a forklift, I own a Bobcat or a skid steer, and I also own a mini skid steer. And I feel like for guys like us or people in the industry, man, it's like almost essential that you have some of this equipment, or you're renting it all the time. And, depending on how much you rent it would determine if you really should be purchasing it or not. But I think having hydraulics, for one, I love them. Hydraulics are amazing. And that's just really interesting. I never knew that about you. And I think that's really cool to be at such a young age to be able to run a machine like that and get that experience under your belt, man. There's something. It's funny because like now that I knew that, like if I was in a predicament and you happen to just be around, I'd be like, hey, Sven, come here. Can you please do this for us? Because I know you do it, and that's just awesome to be able to just to say, sure, no problem, get in it and make it happen. So after that 6 years, what did you do after that?
Yeah. So yeah, that guy, he also had a framing side of it as well. So I kind of learned. He'd help me a little bit here and there and help with framing, but so I sort of kind of learned framing a bit. But yeah, so after 6 years of that, so I did some other dirt work as well, and did some metal fabrication. Um, so kind of a mix of dirt work and fabrication. So we are gonna start a company doing trailers, building
Oh,
custom
cool.
trailers for people, and so we started doing that. Had a couple people purchase their trailers and whatnot, and then decided it was too hard to get like customers.
Yeah.
And then because like a full custom trailer, we weren't a production line, right? We're just doing it in my mom and dad's shop. And so we're trying to build it up, but then we're like, okay, so that dropped off. And then, yeah, then because I knew dirt, I got back into dirt work, and then also concrete. So I did structural concrete for a year, and that was interesting. I got a lot of little pokes from the tie wire. So you'd climb the tie wire, and you'd reach your hand in there, and like there's
Oh,
between the
man.
joints, there's this water stop product, and you'd have to install it and whatnot. And yeah, you'd get poked a lot, but
I bet.
yeah, that was quite the work. A lot of, I mean, you frame, so you'd frame all your forms and whatnot, and then you got to learn how to take it all back out and not spend all day trying to remove tidbits of framing material and plywood and stuff. So
Right.
you definitely learned how to do that.
I heard that if you spray diesel on like
Yeah.
house forms, that it'll keep them from sticking to the concrete.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we do is
Interesting.
diesel oil, like just motor oil mix or whatever you used. And then we'd also use fish oil. Depending if the job like was eco-friendly or whatever, and then we'd use fish oil. It was a little bit stinky, but it worked actually just as good. It might have.
Smell like fish when you're done for the day.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my. Gross. You come home, your wife's like, "Go get in the shower."
Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Interesting. And so so did you ever were there rebar tying machines back then? Like
Yes. So, yep, there was a company that came out with one that did they had it and it worked pretty good. I think it was like the first one that we knew of. But the bosses of it, they didn't want us to use any type of duplex nailer, air nailer. They want all hand nailed because they figured
wow.
people would just put too many nails in, which is probably true. And then tying, often we weren't able to do tie, just because the job required like custom tying. Yeah, like, just like specs and whatnot. And so a lot of it like everything was hand.
So were you using any hand tools along with hand tying, or were you just straight up hand tying it and then twisting and then snipping or something like that?
Yeah, you just have so on most projects it was contracted out, and so there'd be a tie. Just bar busters would come do all the rebar, but when we would still have like the spool on our side, and then you'd have your pliers, and you learn how to tie it.
Man, yeah, I bet.
You'd get really fast, but you'd pull a double loop over like a saddle. So there's like a saddle tie. That was the most common. They're super strong, but yeah, you learn how to do it really quick. Like when you're first doing it, you're like, where's that little twisty tie thing, with the little loop,
Yeah.
pigtails on the ends?
Yeah.
But we wouldn't use those. They required like fancier stuff or whatever. When it came to we did a lot of sewer tanks. So in-ground sewer tanks, so you'd have a lot of pressure from the dirt pushing in. And so like 18-foot high sides typically.
Oh my.
And then and might be like they could be over 100 feet long. And so they just had to be, they just put tons of bar in those things.
So is that a monopore once it's all tied together and everything's ready to go? Do they have to pour it in one set, or is it done in sections?
It's done in sections. They're about 25 feet long or so, roughly. And
Okay.
they'd have like a rubber between each section so it could shift. So
Yeah.
everything could basically shift if there's like movement in the ground or whatever. It could move between those. And that was where that like water stop came in, where you'd like do your pour stops, and then you'd get to reach in and
poke your fingers.
all that. Yeah. Yep.
Bummer. Okay, cool. So you did structural concrete for about a year, you said, and then what?
Yeah, so then after structural concrete, I actually got into fabricating automated sawmill equipment. So like Weyerhaeuser and Hampton Lumber would use them, and there's a company called USNR. But yeah, I worked there for a while. Actually, it was roughly another year. And I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
Just the pay wasn't good. Like I worked swing shift and I had to work overtime to like make ends meet.
Oh man.
And like we were living on like ramen noodles and not spending a dime. But like they're gonna pay me more. I'll just keep grinding. I know they will. And when they're like, "Hey man, we're so stoked on how you're doing. We're gonna give you I think it was like $1.50 raise or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, bro, you don't like realize." Anyways, they're too structured or whatever. They weren't like, that was a lot of fun. But I learned a ton from them, and that's actually where the 3-inch jigs came from. Was doing metal fabrication, and so that's kind of what started. Because I've always wanted to do basically own products, like make something, right? And it's fun. It just intrigued me, and so that's where it kind of started from. So I was very glad I did metal fabrication.
So how old were you at this point where you started this? When you started to realize I'm going to make these jigs, where were you in your career?
Let's see here. So doing that metal fab, I think I was like 25 maybe.
Okay. All right. And then you just came up with this idea like, hey, now the jigs, were they designed for the barrel jigs? Were they designed for L squares, or was there another purpose that you were thinking about when you came up with this idea?
Yeah, so they were 100% designed for just putting them on your square. And I have the first ones that I made here.
Cool.
They're a little bit shiny in the light, but they have an Allen screw. And there's another one on that side, 2 slots, and then upped it to where one set had the Allen wrench built in, right, with a magnet.
Oh, cool.
But they were designed just to stay on your square all the time. So doing metal fab, you'd actually have a square with these, and it just stayed. They stayed on there.
Was that the purpose of those, so you could adapt over to round tubing and different types of metal, or what was the primary purpose of those jigs?
Yeah, so the primary purpose was on the big square tubing with thick wall, like the thicker the wall, the more radiused the corners of the tubes are. And so you just get bigger and bigger rounded edges to where you're trying to hook that edge.
Right.
And rather than riding up and, throwing your layout off,
Yeah,
you're Now, if you're doing straight a shot 90 degrees, if both right up the same, it's completely fine. But you'd often set these to where you could do angles, lay out angles or anything like that. And as soon as that comes into play, there's another variable. And so it's nice to hold that straight true edge. And so you'd have this slot here where you could actually really hang it down. But yeah, it was for just 100% laying out metal fabrication stuff. I never, when I went to try to like market these or whatever, right? It was just for metal fabrication. I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, not framing.
Wow. Wow. Things really changed.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then where did you go from there? From
Yes.
you're working at the what were you doing again? You're working at
metal fab, making automated sawmill equipment.
Automated sawmill equipment, and then
Yep.
you come up with this concept. And do you keep on with that, or did you move on to something else?
Yeah, so I moved on to something else. So went to work for my cousin doing handyman stuff, basically. And so a lot of doing all kinds of framing and, throwing in a slider door to building a whole house. Just, and like I don't know how, just YouTube it. And so we sent it. Sorry, customers, but we just sent it sometimes. But we'd take the time, and we'd get everything right, But sometimes it was a true struggle. But yeah, so that's what I ended up doing. Learned a lot there. Learned a lot that I don't know, right? So we'd come into projects where the customer would ask us, "So hey, all right, how you doing this and that?" And we're just like, "I don't know. We're gonna look at your project, do some research, and figure out how to do it." So it was wild, but it was a full send. Yeah,
Okay.
Eventually I hated it because it was too much of that. I just couldn't take it anymore. But it was fun. Well, it lasted, but yeah, that's what I did, handyman stuff, and then I was like, "Okay, I know how to do concrete and dirt work." So I got back into doing structural concrete for a little bit, and then a little bit of dirt work. And after that, I was like, mostly all out of town. I was like, "Hey, I need to get back into town." And so that's when I got bit into fences and decks for Cascade Fence and Deck. And
Hey.
so, yep, Cascade Fence and Deck. Then I went and I'd be doing Squi.Jig then after that full time.
Yes. So let's get into that, because that's kind of where I met and learned about you.
Yeah.
As in the earlier days of your jig making. So what possessed you to say, "Hey, I've got these barrel jigs, but were people asking you to make a stair jig, or did you just realize that these ones you can get at Home Depot suck so bad that, and you knew the problems that all of us were having with these brass jigs, that you decided to make a deeper version?" Now, some other company had one. They were hard to find, and they didn't last very long. I remember back early in the earlier days, but when you came out with yours, I was like, "No, that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we need."
Yeah.
When did that come about? How long were you working at Cascade before you decided, "Hey, I'm going to start doing this, making these"?
Yeah. So before I went to Cascade, brother-in-law Louis has worked since Cascade for a long time, just when he was young.
I know Louis. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And he actually sent you one of our first sets, and you helped us sell. Like, you helped us sell the first guy.
Nice.
And so you took it off the ground for us, like. So that was like, it was incredible. It was awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then when we decided to team up and do some branded, so it has your logo, my logo on it. How far along was it in the journey when we did that?
Uh, that was a few years into the journey. Um, yeah, so basically at the start, had the 3-inch jigs and worked 410. So Fridays I'd go out and try to find hardware stores and whatnot. And one guy bought a set because I think he felt bad. And then I didn't know how to sell, but and anyways, it was quite the experience. So I kind of dropped it, and then Louis picked it up, and he's like, "Hey, can I have a set of these?" And I was like, "You bet." And so he sold it to some guys at work at Cascade. He's like, "Hey, can I have some more?" He's like, "Hey, actually, do you mind if I just sell these to the dudes?" I was like, "I don't care. They're just sitting here," because I was like, I didn't know what to do, and so he did, and he's like, "Hey, you ever saw those like brass jigs?" And I was like, "No." I mean, like one time, right? When like framing, I kind of vaguely remember noticing them. But like, I never thought much of it because the 3-inch weren't made for stairs. I mean, you could obviously use them for stairs, but
Right.
metal fabrication and stairs
No,
are
you
different.
can totally use them for stairs.
Oh yeah, they get used for stairs all the time now. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
But originally, that wasn't like any like intent.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so he's like, check out the little brass guys. Yeah, these little guys.
Uh, yeah.
And he's like, they're terrible, like you said. He's like, you got to make ones that are bigger because not everybody needs the 3-inch. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And so have so he made some little teeny ones, so they're bigger,
Mm-hmm.
so a little bit
But
bigger than
not big enough.
no, not big enough. So they're like, oh, okay, so they are better, but they're not big enough. So it's like, okay. Um, so then we actually went to the next were these this size,
Yeah.
so 1.25 inch. So from 1 inch, 1.25 inch. And I was like, okay, so 7/8 below the slot, like you could have some serious weighing in your lumber, and it was good. And then kept changing and innovating, and then the current design is this here, much bigger. Thumb screw is a lot bigger, for like the dirty and muddy hands,
Mm-hmm.
and with
Or
gloves.
gloves.
Yep,
Yeah.
fine thread, so it actually like grips really quick and easy. But yeah, it was quite the process. At the time, I didn't know, and then when you went to use them, then you ran into a few scenarios where like, hey, this don't quite fit, and then dudes were starting to like, hey, like I'm putting these on my speed square for holding angles, for
Mhm.
aftertails or whatever, right? And so I was like, no way, that's rad. And another dude reached out, sent a video. He's like, hey, I'm using this thing on in front of my saw.
Yeah, for a rip guide. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, no way. And anyway, so we started testing that and doing decks. We do a rip, on a deck board or whatever. And it was perfect because it followed the contour. Because if you're to snap a line, it the line would be straight, but the board's not. And so when you go and install, it's not correct. But I don't know, sometimes you'd use your finger, then you get a sliver, and you're just like, I just
Yeah.
hate those slivers. So go back to the jigs, and I just kind of ended up sticking with the jig when I did rips,
Mm-hmm.
just to not get that sliver. So it's so painful. But so yeah, just a lot of. It's funny how not just say me came up with ideas, but basically watching people use the product and the feedback is like what helped and developed. Um, it was like you might ask somebody, hey, like what could we do better or anything like that, and they're like, well, not sure. And so it was really fun. It's really fun to actually, and I used the product for years myself, and so
Mm-hmm.
developing it and personally using it was a huge help to
Okay.
actually like put it to the test, rather than make something and try to sell it.
Right, right. So, what did you do at Cascade when you were there?
Yeah, so I worked out in the field for a
As an
while,
installer?
but yeah, as an installer, yep. And then I got into the shop, so worked in the shop for a while, and then at that time on the side, so this whole time basically, when I got married, from to Cascade, like I always did stuff on the side. And one of them we did like Etsy projects. So we did like blanket ladders and sold to Wayfair, Overstock, and Etsy and Amazon Handmade and stuff like that. And so we made blanket ladders, and also then learned how to use make our own website. So I took some classes and courses and figured out how to do websites and whatnot. So we had our own and stuff like that. So when I was at Cascade, they're like, hey, we want to have an online website. We want to have an online hardware store to sell products. And so I was like, you bet, I could do that. And so installer to the shop, and then start an online retail store for them. And so that's where I ended up when I went and doing this full time. That's where I ended up quitting, was when got the store up and running and was able to transition it to somebody else to run it. They did that, but ended up being where they turned it back off just because, it was, the shop would be fulfilling online orders, so people would come pick up and we'd ship. And so it kind of messed up the flow of the shop in there. And it's a different customer, right? So
yeah,
like the whole business was around like good big projects, and not like little small projects where they're nickel and diming basically. And so
right.
it was a fun. We tested out that, and so that's where it was a lot of fun.
Okay. All right, cool. So now you're full-time Squi.Jig. You've also come out with some additional accessories or tools that go along with. You started with, I call them. What do you call? It's like a staircase jig or a stair jig or something like that, right?
We call them framing jigs just because more than stair gauges, and framing jigs.
But most of the time, at least in my world, those jigs for me have a specific purpose, and it's a much superior purpose for that jig than what I've had in the past. And that's why they always stay in my primary tool kit, because I know exactly where they are. You have some really cool accessories to mount them to. So I like the little wood. That plastic clip thing is cool, but I really just still like the wood. You screw it in, and it's on this little wood keychain kind of thing. And I know where they are. I go, okay, I got to lay out a set of stairs. I need my Squi.Jigs. And I walk over to my toolbox, and there they are, right on that wood on that piece of wood, with the holes and the notches in it. And then I adapt them over to my Squi.Jig square. I've never had an L square as nice as the one that you sent me. And I'm grateful for that. And the cool thing about Squi.Jig is Sven will custom laser engrave your logo right on the product. So not only will he do your Squi.Jigs, he can do your framing square, he can do your mini square, or your, and with the one thing we haven't talked about is it a Fusion Pro? Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7-inch Fusion Pro Speed Square. And there's two versions of it. But it didn't start out that way. You just had the one version, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then were you getting, like, not complaints, but saying, hey, do you have one with a level vial bubble in it? Or is that just you doing your thing? Or what was your... Take us through that process of from only Squi.Jigs to what was your next product and why?
Yeah, so started with the 3-inch, and then now have the 1.5-inch jigs, the Squi.Jigs. And then so working out in the field, it'd be like, man, I would love, like, having like a nice speed square would be amazing. And so it's like, would like to make one that's like, this is the ideal square. And so a square with a 3/16 heel on there, but with a level. And so ended up making it. I have it here, but yeah, this is the first square, level on it, 3/16 heel. It's thicker, so it's 1/4-inch thick.
The reason for the 3/16 inch heel is so that you can fit it in between a gap between two deck boards, My gap is 3/16. So if you have less than a 3/16 gap, you're out of luck.
Yep.
But most people don't realize how important that is until they start building decks. Then it's like, hey, I can't get this big fat plate anywhere on my, so I'm adding something else into the deck to get that square edge so that I can put a square up against it. So I just want everybody to know that that's why that particular square is available, is because it fits in between deck boards. I'm sure there's other reasons too, but that's the one I could really identify with.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because that's where the 3/16 heel came from, was to for deck building, and it ended up being, it was a really expensive square to make. Had a lot of machining on it, and so there's a lot of like resistance up because of the price. And so it's like, well, okay, what do I do differently? And so, and another was like, the level is a bit small, for some old guys or whatever, with people with bad eyes. So it'd be nicer to see it, so it's bigger. So ended up doing a version where it's the same, but you could have a 3/16 heel on it, or you could have a level. So you could switch out the same frame, but you could switch from 3/16 heel or have a level version. And so whatever you prefer, you still have the nice inner design, but you could have whatever style of heel you want.
What size heel is that? Is that like a 1/2 inch?
Yeah, it's exactly 1/2 inch. So that way, if you set it here, you can stack your numbers, right? So the top height, 7.5. So then if you add that in there, it's actually 8 inches. And so it makes simple math: 1 inch
Sure.
by 1/2 inch. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then, so those came next, and then you've added to the collection an L square as well.
Yeah. Yep. So I did the L square, and that I've been out of those for a little bit, just because I was using. Yeah, working on a new update on those, and so I was using a different, basically, a vendor to help me on those, and he sold his machine. This is a small guy, and so I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, I gotta stop selling these things. So now I finally got a machine here in the shop that can do the same thing.
Cool.
So we've been playing with it now. So hopefully out here in a little bit, we'll be able to start cranking them out again. Because, yeah, there's been a lot of customers that have asked, hey, where can I get this? It's like, well, it's coming back. So
stop showing that on Instagram. I'll stop showing that one on Instagram. Tell me it's cool to get going on it again.
Yep.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, stairs are basically part of building a deck most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't build many decks without stairs. So you're always going to need those layout tools to do it. And to have a nice set that you can go to, it just makes your job that much more enjoyable.
It does.
In my opinion, and
yep.
So are you selling nationally or worldwide, or what's your market right now?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So started off in the US, and now it's worldwide. It sounds huge, but the world's big, and we're only in a few parts of the world. But yeah, we are. Yep. Yeah, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. And,
okay. So you're shipping all over the place.
Yep. Yeah, in the UK, in Norway.
Oh, cool. How are sales? How are sales right now? Do you notice is Squi.Jigs seasonal, like deck season is, or are you able to manufacture and send out year round?
Yeah, so it is somewhat seasonal for sure. Has a slow time of year, and then holiday season is a little bit busier. Holidays, like the bosses, they like to buy their guys squares and whatnot, and so that's a ton of fun to see. Where when we customize the squares, we'll see companies' logos and the guys' names. That to me is like the funnest. And then when dudes put stuff on their squares, you're like, oh geez, you're going to put that on your square. So you see some interesting things come through to get lasered on their squares or on their jigs. And no, it's a ton of fun. That's one of my favorite parts is that.
Yeah, the customization. What's your turnaround time on a custom piece?
Yeah, on a custom piece, it typically adds just a day
Wow.
to it. And so give or take, right? Because we like to, if we can do a handful at a time, that's the best. That way you can get into a little flow of things and whatnot. But yeah, yep.
Okay. Explain the process. Like for somebody that's listening to this podcast and they go to your webpage and they want to check out what you have, Squi.Jig.com, I assume, is where we would go.
Yep.
And then to do a customized square, you can choose different colors. You have a varying offering of colors.
Yeah. Yep.
And then there's certain places on the square that you can, and I know this because I have all this stuff and it's all basically has my logo on it. So the logo on my skull cap is exactly what is on my squares, my mini squares, my Squi.Jigs. And then Sven, actually, when we first got started, we decided he did a custom set of Squi.Jigs for me with my old logo, the one that's on my arm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So he does some really cool stuff. So we prefer that you don't request vulgar or profane things, but I don't know what your policy is on that, if you still print it or not. So that's completely up to you. But
Yep.
It's kind of a cool custom, like if you're giving it as a gift to somebody that's in the trades and you have it custom identified, I think that's a really neat way to it's more of a personal gift than just saying, hey, here's a Squi.Jig square, which is cool, but it also has your name on it or something that means something to that person.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah, it does turn it more personal, and like that's what I like. I enjoy that. I like to add more zip than just like going to work, basic tools. There's like, I like having nice tools. It just adds a vibe to it. Yeah, customizing the square. So this is the area on the 7.5-inch square, and you can fit your logo, your name, a lot of room in there. We actually had more information about the square here, and my buddy, he builds tiny homes, and he's like, hey, take that off the information that was here and put my logo and the guys' names on here. And so he did, and I'm like, no way, that's phenomenal. That's a perfect spot to customize. Yeah. And so we actually we used to do it here across the square. And so this ended up being much better. And so now that's where we do it. It's
very cool.
A ton of real estate. It's a lot of
man.
fun.
I dig it. I totally dig it. Okay, what else did I have for you? So that's pretty much your lineup. Oh, the mini. Show us your mini.
Yeah, yep. So I have a mini.
And show us the L square too.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're not watching it, you got to go to our YouTube channel so you can see these really cool tools that Sven's showing us.
Yeah, so here's the mini. So this has a 3/16 heel, and you can offset the heel. You have 3 different settings, which will then give you different offsets on the face here. Depending. Exterior siding guys like this style here, and then of course deck building. And then this is the style with a level in it, with a 1/2-inch heel, and you have these offsets built in right here for trim guys. And so I asked a bunch of trim dudes, like, what are your offsets? What do you like to see? What do you like to have? And so this came up the 4 offsets.
Zoom in on that so we can see it really good. Turn it the other way. Yeah. Okay, now flip it. Yeah, so we can, cool. See the offset, like the dados inside, so you can offset your door trims and different things. Or, I mean, I'm sure there's many other uses for it as well, just, but the obvious ones, the ones that come into my simple brain.
Yep.
And then your L square. You got an L square handy?
I do.
So do this, Sven. Show me that L square. Talk about it, and then show me how your original product, or maybe the stair jig, since we're deck builders and it's a deck building podcast, how that works for stair layout. Just quickly talk about the L square, and then
Yeah. Here's the L square here, and so aircraft grade 6066 T6 aluminum, and it's 3/16 thick. All the edges are all chamfered, and so it glides really nice.
Which are not available at the moment, but
which are not available at the moment. Sorry, not trying to sell it, just trying to explain it. That's all.
You got a wrench in that too?
Yeah, so a 1/2-inch blade wrench here. You can crank on it. It's just
do I have that on mine?
Aluminum is durable, huh?
Do I have that on mine?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. Okay. Yep. Cool.
And,
that's a cool feature
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So working on a new version where the scribes are going to be here. And they'll be every 16th of an inch. And so a lot different. And when you go to use it, you can really find, if you want to scribe, you can scribe like really in fine detail, which is awesome. But yeah, the new jigs with the fine threads, they snug down so quick and they lock down like very well. Like holding on is
okay. Cool.
Tight.
So you're going to do some kind of a hanging test with it? So it'll show everybody, it'll hold your body weight after you cinch them down?
Hey, you probably could. I don't know how I'd do it.
No? Oh, you can rip them off. But don't do that because it might scratch your square.
Yeah, it looks fun. But yeah, they hold much better than you'd actually need.
So
yeah,
that
just like that.
Yeah, so what you're seeing there, that's basically a setup for laying out stairs, a staircase, a stair stringer. I call it a stair jack, but I'm weird, okay? So
yeah, stair jack, yep.
But that's what you need. That's what you need to do it. You need those three things. But the Squi.Jigs are sold in a pair. So it's really two things you're purchasing. And you can go to Home Depot and buy a steel square for $20, but if you're into fine craftsmanship and you're into fine tools, that's where these kind of tools come in. And these are the type of tools I purchase nowadays, are ones that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, as long as somebody doesn't borrow them. But with my logo on them, everybody else, oh yeah, I know who these are. These are not mine. These are Dr. Deck's, so it's another cool reason. Or if you have your name, let's say you hand out a bunch of squares for Christmas to your guys, but each one has their individual name. Nobody's taking somebody else's square or something like that. So definitely a cool feature to have, a cool service to have on your product.
Yeah.
Awesome, Sven. Okay.
You can see the difference. Little brass guys.
Oh, yeah. Ridiculously.
Substantial.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times before I had your product that I made a mistake because a piece of material was waned out, like you said, and it just dipped or a knot was in the way or whatever.
Yep.
And I had to start over again because it didn't lay out properly.
Yeah, that is a thing. Like if you mess up a 2x12, say if it's 20 feet long or whatever, or it doesn't even matter. Maybe it's just the short one, 8 foot long. But the time it takes you to go run back to the hardware store or lumber store to go buy another 2x12, come back, like you have lost so much productivity and comes down like money, right? So time is money, and then like the lumber itself isn't too bad when you consider, but it's the lost time. And so that's why having like the good tools where they hold well and they're tall, and if there's a wane, it just glides over rather than messing up your stringer. Man, it's just spending that little bit extra money, getting a good tool is so worth it. It's
100%. I can't tell you, 100%. Sven, we are out of time already. That went really quick. I guess when I get to talk and look at tools, it just blows me away, and I just like, ooh, candy. So if you guys want to know more, or actually ask Sven any kind of a question, how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram or go to the website. If you want to email me, you can email me there. But Instagram and the website, that's the best places.
All right. Sven from Squi.Jig, thank you so much for being on our podcast. If you want to hear more, you're going to have to jump over to our Patreon channel because I have a few questions for Sven. We're going to talk about pricing, and we're going to talk about what's coming up for the future with Squi.Jig. What else is on the horizon? So if you want to hear about it, go join. $5 a month subscription, guys. Check it out. Sven, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.